Hello, fellow listeners, and welcome back for another tale of daily horror. As October crawls to its end, let's introduce the story of body horror that involves a man whose skin has a hunger for itself. Here is The Flesh That Hungers, as part of 365 horror shorts. The human body is the most unusual thing. Most understand how it works, but very few understand why. This is the reason that we don't ponder too much. After all, the only parts of ourselves we need to care about are only skin deep. Walking around the park was exhausting. I was a couple days into my new exercise routine to try and lose weight. I wasn't exactly the best looking guy around, and the extra pounds I'd put on over the years didn't exactly help in my favor. I decided a few days ago that it was time for me to do something about it. Especially since I first met Sierra. Sierra was this gorgeous blonde woman I'd seen walking her dog a few times. The other day I bumped into her on an accident outside of work. She said she loved horror movies and enjoyed the little thrills life had to offer. She was really someone who took life by the horns and rode it until there was little left. I loved that about her. Then on the way to work, I spotted her over by the park a few times, and that's when it clicked for me. I've only got one life. I should do what makes me happy. I should try to go for some jogs around the park in hopes to see her again. And sure enough, I did. Every time we met up, we learned more and more about each other. We shared some jokes, we loved the same kind of music, and I knew deep down she was the one. Today, just after departing from another deep conversation, we agreed to meet up later that night for a date. My heart was fluttering with excitement. I couldn't believe how well things were working out between us. I waved goodbye to her. I wasn't paying attention to where I was heading, and I tripped. I landed face first in the grass. I grunted as I climbed to my feet. I dusted myself off and realized I felt a cold, slimy thing on my cheek. I quickly wiped it off and watched it plop to the ground. It was some kind of black goop, kind of the consistency of Jell-O. I ignored it and went back to my apartment to take a shower. It felt gross, covered in sweat and dirt and whatever weird kind of slime that was. I couldn't stop thinking about our date. As I showered, I tried to figure out what I would even wear. Where were we going? She said she knew a place and to dress casually. I didn't know if that meant fast food or a bar or what, but I was excited nonetheless. Finally, I climbed out of the shower feeling as fresh as ever. As I dried off, I started to feel a weird burning sensation on my cheek. What was that? Then the burning spread to the other side of my face. Then my entire face. I could feel some of the muscle in my face twitching a bit, and I started to panic. Was it the body wash I was using? Or did it have something to do with that weird black goo from earlier? Either way, I quickly wiped the bathroom mirror and peered at my reflection in shock. My face was red. It also appeared a lot thinner than normal. I could see my cheekbones and a more defined chin. I actually looked great. A part of me wanted to be worried about this, but another part of me loved what I was seeing in the mirror. I admired myself a little bit longer before I stepped out of the bathroom and threw on some clothes. As I did, I felt that burning sensation spread through my arms and legs and the rest of my body. It almost looked like I was deflating like a balloon until all that remained was just muscle and bone. All the fat on my body was gone, which was great because I always wanted to be skinny, but it also sucked, as now all the clothes I had were going to be baggy. I decided to just wear a jacket and throw on some jeans with a belt. It almost felt empowering with the belt being tighter than I'd ever seen it. After we got to the restaurant, I started to feel a bit woozy, like I was close to passing out, but I didn't care. I pushed past it, both because I looked great and because I was on a date with the most amazing woman I'd ever met. Of course, she took me to a sports bar. We sat away at our own table toward the far end of the bar, so we'd be by ourselves for the most part. I loved the scenery. The jerseys posted on the wall, the TV screens with random games and commercials playing. It was a nice change of pace from what I was used to. As we chatted, the food came by. I wasn't really that hungry, so I just ordered some fries. We split them and joked around a bit. Suddenly, that burning sensation returned. It started with my legs. They started to feel almost lighter. I started to get a bit freaked out, but I tried to keep my cool as to not scare off my date. I tried moving my legs to cross them or something just to return the feeling in them, but I found it difficult, like they weighed a ton. Then the burning sensation crawled upward on my arms, my hands, my chest area, all beginning to feel lighter, and yet I found it more difficult to move. I looked down in horror at my hands, as they looked like bone with skin over them. Then I saw them melt away as the skin almost seemed to dissolve my fingers. I tried to scream out in horror, but I found I couldn't even open my mouth. It was like all the muscle, all the nerves in my jaw had been consumed. I looked up at Sarah, who was already staring at me in terror. She was worried, asking me if I was okay, but I was having difficulty hearing her. What the hell was happening to me? Internally, I was screaming, in pain, horrified by what my body was doing to itself. It was like my skin was melting everything inside of it, devouring my muscle, my bones, everything. I looked around and saw everyone in the bar freaking out as they saw me. The flesh had taken my legs, my arms, soon my head, then my chest, until all that was left of me was a single ball of flesh. And I could still feel everything. This episode was written and produced by DL Dare. All audio is from epidemicsounds.com. If you enjoyed this episode and want to read more 365 horror short stories, check out 365 Horror Shorts on Substack, or at 365horrorshorts.blogspot.com. This podcast is distributed by Acast, based on the daily horror short stories by DL Dare.